Hey everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I'm Halim, and this is Brian, and Eunice here. Today we're talking about inequality of education in Malaysia. So to give a little bit of intro, our topic today, we are actually talk about the education development and education inequality of communities who live in rural areas, which are still a common issue in Malaysia, even when the country is reaching 6 decades since the formation of Malaysia.
I do think that education is vital for every child in Malaysia and it should be held in a high regard. It is important for the future development of the country because we rely on them to inherit the country in the future. So we need capable leaders to inherit the country in order to bring the country to a greater height.
Yeah, I agree. There's a still huge number of households that couldn't afford to send their child to the school due to additional charge for their living and incur like food and transportation problem like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Now, how does it relate to any philosophical terms that we have learned?
You know what? I think this topic heavily relates to epistemology, philosophical term. But what is epistemology? It is commonly known as the philosophy of education, which concerns the nature and purposes of education and the philosophical issues raised by educational theory and practice. It covers both fundamental philosophical issues such as what constitutes teaching, the character of educational equality and justice, and etc.
I see. Yes, I think epistemology is important because it includes the fair consideration of all the interests of all the parties involved, as well as well-reasoned evaluation of educational aims and interventions.
Yeah, as we have seen on social media and news, there's many story about student rural or underdeveloped areas of Malaysia who study have been impacted, whether that could be poor schooling facility and lack of access to proper study material. It can be for example a student may have little to no hands-on experience on doing experiment in the science lab, or they may have difficulty learning about the ICT, which could be very important for them to succeed in today's world.
Mm-hmm. Actually, we have taken a survey to even more understand this issue. So let's take a look at our survey results to see what do others think about this issue.
So, from our survey results, we actually found that a majority of our respondents have a moderate to high awareness of education inequalities in Malaysia, with 65% of them saying that they know someone who has encountered education inequality before.
We also found that majority of the respondents agree that the issue being led by various party of society.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was being ignored by various parts of society. Let's learn more because we have contacted experts in this issue. Let's hear from them.
Can you give a brief introduction of Rakan Tutor, like what inspired to start this organization and what are your aims?
Okay, so a brief introduction and how we started it and what are our goals, right? So brief introduction about Rakan Tutor. We are like a platform to connect volunteer tutors, like potentially like you guys, to volunteer for us to help teach Form 4 to Form 5 students on specifically math subject.
So thank you for the introduction. So do you think there's a lot of awareness regarding education inequalities in Malaysia?
Awareness-wise, it's very low. But I wouldn't say too low to the point that nobody knows that, because education inequality is one of the key highly discussed topics in the NGO/social enterprise space. Everyone knows there's education inequality in our country. It's a systematic issue. It's not just a certain politician do something wrong kind of issue. It's more like a systematic issue that's been running for a lot of years. So just a side note, that's why voting matters. You guys should vote next Saturday. Yeah. So, but anyways, yes, it is very well known. It's a very hot issue in the NGO space or whatever, but it's still, awareness is still needed, because more awareness means more attention. More attention means more help we can get. More help we can get means we can channel the effort to help more students or more impacted individuals / duties that we want to help.
What do you think everyday Malaysians can be doing to help support students facing inequality?
Everyday Malaysians like you guys. I mean, you can different ways. You can do this interview with the leader of the organization. You can donate. You can volunteer. You can spread awareness. When you are spending time with your peers, your friends, just tell them, oh, do you know that there's this issue? You may not know because we are too privileged to know about this, but do you know about this XYZ issue in the education system of Malaysia?
On earlier, you said this is a systematic issue in our education system. So
Yes.
do you think with elections coming up this Saturday, do you think there's anything that the future governments can do? Maybe not specifically one government, but in the future, what can they do to possibly fix this systematic issue?
Good question. So the systematic issue right now is how to say? I think there's a multiple, but I think the very key one is funding. Funding to high need school. Not only funding, but allocation of human resources. What I mean by human resources is allocation of good, well-versed, well-trained teachers to highly need schools, right? So what I mean by that is that I think a lot of times, in the past, the Kementerian Pendidikan, which is the Ministry of Education, they don't have comprehensive or enough data to understand which schools in which states are struggling, which state needs more attention, and where to allocate more funds to. Just to let you guys know, I'm actually just same as you guys. I'm only year 2 in my university, and I'm actually the youngest member in the whole management team, and I am leading it. Right, so I have team members from Oxford, from MIT, they graduated from super good unis, super good backgrounds and whatnot, but I'm leading them. Right? So I just want to tell you guys that it is not impossible to do whatever you aspire to do, and you don't have to doubt yourself when there are people surrounding you that are better than you. Because when people are surrounding you that are better than you, that means you're at the right place, right? You're learning every single day. And I feel like this is something that you guys should preach, should follow by, because yes, you're not as experienced as me or as anyone else, but you're learning, and it's hard, yes, but because it's hard, you learn the most. Yeah, and I'm only 20, and I know some people are even older than me or younger than me or whatever, but age doesn't matter. What's more important is do you have the heart to do it, and do you have the attitude to do it as well, that work ethic? Because a lot of people don't have that, and if you have that, congrats to you. You will succeed in the future and in the long run. Yeah, so that will be my advice to you guys.
Wow, what an insightful session we had with Rakan Tutor. I have truly learned a lot by listening to the expert. Unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today.
Yeah, thanks for the fruitful discussion. I have learned a lot about inequality education and the philosophical theory that relates to it.
Yep, and I will surely be more proactive after this to do my part in alleviating the issue.
Alright, see you guys again. Bye.
Bye bye.